Hi, I'm Brian Quarstead with Inside Minnesota Soccer, and I got a very special guest with me here today, Tony Sani from native St. Paulite, just as I am myself. And Tony was, grew up playing St. Paul Blackhawks at SPA with Buzz Lagos and Manny Lagos and Amos McGee, and had played Milwaukee Rampage. Actually, before that, you were UW Milwaukee.
UW Milwaukee.
And Milwaukee Rampage and Minnesota Thunder, and you can go on and on. But DC United, you had a couple of, you played 96 to 98 there?
Yep, 3 years.
And you doing MLS Cup 3 times, but you won it 2 of the 3. You got 2 goals in it.
Yep.
You had big goals, 96 and 97, I believe.
That's true.
And Supporter Shield as well when you were there. You were also with Hertha Berlin, Nuremberg, and came back, played for the Columbus Crew, Chicago Fire, been around a little bit and had a lot of really great years. During that time, you also played with the U.S. national team from 97, 2005, right? And one of the things that impressed me recently was Tony was named to the all-decade U.S. men's national team for Soccer America, which I thought was pretty cool. And, I want to talk about that, if we can, for a minute, about the 2002 World Cup. You played every minute of that World Cup, and as I've told my friends, you were a monster in that game. I mean, in that whole World Cup. Talk to me a little bit. I mean, every athlete has kind of a pinnacle or a peak moment that he feels. Was that yours, or was it something else?
It definitely was a highlight of my career. I sacrificed a lot, getting up to the World Cup. I dedicated myself and my body a little bit more. One thing in general about my past is, I've succeeded and I've failed, but I've seemed to do well in larger situations, because I think it was easier for me to get my concentration level up. And I never looked at it like, what if I make a mistake inside of 50,000 people or 1 billion people? I was excited because now I get to show 1 billion people what I get to do. So for me, it was like, players play to play the game. Practice is the work. And for me, my whole career, game time has always been, rewarding. And it was definitely a special time with me. I focused on it. You go through your whole life, and you're on the team, but I know a lot of friends of mine, Chris Armas, Sebastian Deisler, 1 injury away a week before, and it's gone. So, I've had a lot of great club experiences, Champions League, but a dream really come true. It wasn't being picked on the team in Korea. It wasn't playing in the games. It was the very first game against Portugal, walking out there, being in the starting 11 still, the national anthem going off. I'm done with warm-ups, and I know I made it. And I just said to myself, okay, it's showtime.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. In that 2002 World Cup, in fact, in that game against Germany in that quarterfinal, you had a great cross to Brian McBride, but you had a number of great crosses into Brian McBride. Early crosses, deep on the flank. You played with Brian with the Milwaukee Rampage. Do you think there was a little better understanding between you two, or what was that about?
I mean, definitely. I mean, most people remember, the cross against Portugal, which was it our second goal? Or third
I don't
goal?
recall exactly.
Against Portugal, I went down the wing and crossed it in, and he headed it. And we were a forward tandem back in the day, and I was the speedy guy that ran to the corners and kicked it in the middle, and he headed it home. So he's a great forward to work with. You don't have to hit his head. You have to put it up for him, and he will attack the ball. So generally, obviously I always look up for him, but you try to put it in his vicinity, and he trusts me that I'm going to get it there. So he makes hard runs in the box, and I know that he's going to go after it. So I don't have to aim. I can worry about just getting it past the defense. And it was a great play, and it'll be remembered for a long time. And our chemistry and upbringing together definitely helped.
Yeah, interesting. being a veteran, I'm interested in your opinion of the World Cup coming up. Sixth consecutive time the U.S. has qualified. We've had some major devastating injuries to Charlie Davies, to Gooch Onyewu, who I believe you're in contact with occasionally, and also, of course, to Clint Dempsey now. It's a possibility all three of those guys could be ready, but it's going to be pushing, all of them will be pushing it to actually be ready. Give me your assessment. What is this team looking like? Are you worried? I know I'm a little nervous in the back line. What's their strength? What's their weakness?
Well, you know, first of all, when you talk about the U.S., I'm never really worried about the back line. We've had good years and bad years, but our problem is scoring goals. I mean, quite frankly, we don't have world-class forwards like they do in other countries. Ryan has been our marquee forward for years, and he stepped down. And you know, it's my opinion that if he still wanted to, he would still be our best option. You know, the early reports are none of these injuries are as bad as first feared. I think Charlie is still a long shot. You know, it's just we're blessed that he's alive, and it was a near-death experience, and it's a lesson to all of us. You know, Gooch, I talked to Gooch, and he's going to LA this week, and he's starting to run and get back into shape before he heads back over to Milan. So I'm confident that he'll be ready. And I don't know that much about Clint's situation, but you know, Clint's a fighter, and he's earned everything he's gotten. And if there's any way he can be there, I'm sure he will be.
Sure.
You know, they're very important players to the team. But it's not the U.S. team 8 years ago or 12 years ago or 15 years ago. We have a pool of, you know, 30 players now. Will losing 3 out of our best 11 hurt? Of course, but it's not going to be like years before where if we lost one starter, it was done. Mm-hmm. So we hope to have them there. And even in the leadership role, you know, they're going to be important. So we'll see what happens with them, but we're keeping our fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely.